Alright, shalom wa ahava aleikum hurnota shel sifrota. Back again, and we're here with the fifth part of the video series explaining this wonderful Gemara, Elo Devarim Sheilem Shor, that we read in the Siddur of the Torah blessings every single morning. And we just discussed how this very first paragraph holds the index sequence code for our genetics. One may ask, what does 22 letters have to do with a chromosome? And that is that the chromosome's formula is an aleph plus a lamed in two languages which have the same exact gematria value, which happens to equal 31 times 22, 31 being the actual value needed to make a chromosome. 3 plus 1 is 4, and 4 is like the four-letter name. Obviously, the Creator signed himself in the most deepest parts of our genetics, the most deepest parts of law. Obviously, we're reading Jewish law at the essence, and obviously within history, because the Torah has an element of history, although it is not history. And the Rashi brings down, El Baruch Hu, that anyone who reduces the Torah to a story is a fucking idiot. Why? Why am I being like this? Because in this generation, most people reduce the Torah and the Quran down to a story, not understanding that these instructions are eternal. And so here, we have a few more keys. Now, I'm not done. You see, like, I gave this one key, and this one key is the proof and the seal that the Hurnota Shel Sifrota exists. What is the whole point behind the title of my channel name? That there's an authority behind these spheres that makes it perfect. That there's an authority who gave down the Torah with an aspect called the Kabbalah, called the deeper wisdom, the Pneu Torah, that can be extracted to have practical, external Torah lessons. And so, to review, you got a chromosome. How do you make a chromosome? You have to take an aleph and a lamed, or an aleph and a lam, create it together, get the 31 value, which is L, which is actually the number of lines in the first chapter of Bereshit in the Hebrew Torah. There's 31 lines in the first chapter. 31 is also God, L, like Allah, like we discussed. Times Kaf Beit, times 22. Where do we get the 22? We got it from this passage, from between the Elo and the Elo, from Davrim to Havos, 22 letters. Where do we get the thing for L? From Elo to Elo. There's two L's. So therefore, we have two languages that it encodes, Arabit and Eravit. Hebrew and Arabic, they have the same gematria value. Moving on. Now this one is going to get the masters and maybe even the grandmasters, because we discussed how all of this comes from tradition of Moshe Messinai. Guess what? That the actual principles from the first word to the 32nd word, from kevod all the way down to kulam, which is honor, all the way down to all, keneged kulam, it's like it's equivalent to all. Yeah, all honor, all praise. What do you mean all honor, all praise? Because the gematria value, right, if you're taking the kevod, which is the kether, all the way down to the foot of the malchut, the kulam, right, in Arabic the word kulum, which is like the kulam is the column. This word kolam, which is related to the Arabic word kulum, kolam means all. Column is like the tzaddik yesod olam, it's like the column, it's like the obelisk, and the ancient understanding of the obelisk is not to worship it as a fucking penis. That is a low-level understanding and interpretation. And as an initiate, I mean, don't take this literally, but instructionally, you get smacked. You'd be like, hey, Madon, what are you doing over there worshiping the obelisk over here? You gotta understand. The kolum, and then the kolum is like where we get the English word column. And what's a column? A column is a stack from top to bottom. Therefore kolum, therefore kolam. So from the kevod, from the honor, right, from the 72-letter name and the 63-letter name, the Arili or Abba and Ima in the heavens, in Golgotha, all the way down to Kolam, you take the gematria of these two words from Asher Techadit to Asher Alit, we have the beginning and the end. And these two, the gematria value is Sinai. Literally, Kivod plus Kolam is Sinai. That's some crazy shit. The implications and ramifications are not only staggering, because Sinai, again, has a relationship to Bina, because Moshe had to go to the very head of the Atik Yomin, using which ship? The ships of Atzilut. How did he get the ships of Atzilut? Because he had Bina. There's no way you're getting to Atzilut without Bina. It's fucking mission impossible. So therefore, the source of this, of Sinai, which is the entity which the Mishnah Torah from Rambam, which is Halacha, the codification of Jewish law, writes down that Moshe kabel Torah mi Sinai. It doesn't say me Hashem, me Havaya, me Adonai, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu, Baruch Hu. It says mi Sinai. And so here the 32 paths of wisdom are encoded within Sinai. This is another key. It's another gem. Take it as you will. It's a simple mathematical equation. This plus this equals this. But the implications and ramifications of spiritual math, you don't have to go into calculus. We go into calculus, 99% of you couldn't watch the video. This is basic addition. And yet the passage does not change. God does not change. The words do not change. Letter count doesn't change. All I'm doing is moving visual parameters and guiding you vocally to unify the oral Torah and the written Torah. And we're all the chad. And one more. Just one more. And here's where the video is going to get retardedly intense. Again, if you can't handle it, please go. The door has a handle. Place hand on handle. Turn handle. Open door. Leave. Close door behind you if you're not a fucking jerk off. But here we go. I had to put that out there because, you know, this is the responsibility of some of the people who pass down wisdom. I hope we can all get to some type of level of passion like this consistently. But here we go. And this key is found in the very last 4 words of the pasuk. What does it say? It says like this: with Tלמוד Torah keneged kulam. I was making a point about this earlier, that the study of Torah is equal to all these principles. Everything you write here, by the way, all 57 words of the pasuk, there are 57 words in the pasuk. By the way, 57 times 2 is 114 number of surot in the Quran. So there is a relation here to the religion of Islam. There's a great unification here. But the Tלמוד Torah doesn't say Quran, doesn't say Brit HaChadashah. It says Tלמוד Torah keneged kulam, the study of Torah, the study of the Torah of Moshe, Rabbeinu. This is equal to all of them. And so how can we analyze this deeper? One way in Remez / Sod that we can work this Kabbalistically is to take something called the Rosh Tevos of the pasuk, of the phrase. What's the Rosh Tevos? Rosh Tevos is the head letters. For example, with Talmud, Torah, keneged kulam. Those are 4 expressions, 4 words, for Devar. So we take the very first letter of each of those words. Vav, Tav, Kaf, and Kaf. Very simple. I circled them here in red, and I highlighted the pasuk for ease of visualization. And so the question is, this is going to come out to a value. Now sometimes I have to say, you can't do this. You cannot. I couldn't just start the video pulling out this gematria because you had no context. Now we have a ridiculous load of context. We've analyzed the entire pasuk, basically. Gave you Sod level, Remez level hints and secrets, which are very, very powerful and can elevate the neshama very greatly. And only then we read, well, Tלמוד Torah keneged kulam. That's incredible, because everything we just learned, and still the study of Torah, meaning what have you learned? What the hell do you know? What's going on with you? No, you learn nothing. Why? Because it's still concealed. Why? With Tלמוד Torah keneged kulam, it corresponds directly to the Kadma, the Zohar. I have a question. What is the value of all the Rosh Tevos combined? And what we're going to do is we're going to take this value and we're going to relate it directly to Tלמוד Torah keneged kulam, because the Torah is called the tree of lives of those who cleave to her, as we know. So therefore, the value, and brace yourselves greatly, for Vav plus Tav plus Kaf, which is the Rosh Tevos of Tלמוד Torah keneged kulam, is equal to Mot, is equal to death. What does the tree of life called the Torah, the lives, Chaim, Etz Chaim, the tree of lives, what is it doing with the gematria value of death? That's a complete opposite. It's a miracle. It's a miracle of the Torah, it's a miracle of the Gemara. What's going on here? And the answer is that before Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses our teacher, passed, he told us a really dire message. He said, what I put before you, what I gave to you in this Torah has the power, he wasn't lying, he wasn't joking, of life and death. So it's a great responsibility upon the Jew to understand Torah and study Torah. Otherwise, a corresponding value is mut. Now, is that the end game? Is death all there is? No. That's why I wrote in the second line here, Aval harachamim nu. That's pretty harsh. Death? Okay. Nu, where's the mercy? Where's the compassion of God? LOL, right? Lula, it's a loop. Okay, no, I got you. Fine. Because tav plus vav plus kaf, not only equals mut, which is death, it's also equal to ha'emet. It's also equal to the truth. What is the truth? The truth is death. What do you mean the truth is death? The truth is, if you don't study Torah, it is equivalent to as if the person is dead. This we know. It's one thing brought down that a person who's blind is considered dead. Why? Because he can't study Torah. He can't teach Torah. He can't give presentations. A Jew, an Israelite, really, one who understands Hashem, lives his life understanding Torah until he dies, until he's out, until mut. But when he gets to the akhirah, to the after olam haba, what does he get? He gets to ha'emet. This is called etz da'at tov v'ra be'ha'etz chayim. This is one embedded in the other. As I said before, the yisad in the tiferet. It's a sort of a spherical conjugation here. We're not talking physical. This is purely conceptual. It's based on principles of the Kabbalah. So here we see that the principles of life and death are actually contained within the tav, and the vav, which can be symbolized for the world. It's literally the spelling of the letter tav. That's how you spell it, tav, vav. Then kaf and kaf. Oh, do we remember the kaf and the kaf from kevod and kulam? Yeah, it's that interconnected. And so, on the very next slides, we're going to get so ridiculously deep, it can be considered Shabbatain Frankist. But that's okay. I trust you guys are hardcore true believers, and that we're going to be able to handle what's coming next. And with that being said, take a little break, meditate, and really reflect upon these principles and their practical applications and what they imply, which is crazy. With all that being said, of course, much love, wholeness, many blessings, and Anochi churnota shel hasifrota ve'ani dabrti aleikum shalom ve'esela. Amin.